It's the Raider Sports Radio podcast presented by RJ Media. With your hosts Hudson Ridley and Marcus Schultz.
Welcome to Raider Sports Radio Quarantine Edition, our first episode in the quarantine. We've been trying to bring you some quarantine content, but technical difficulties haven't allowed that to happen. But nevertheless, we are here for a big episode. We have a lot to talk about, especially in NFL. We haven't had an episode all quarantine yet, so an NFL episode has a lot of news for us. Free agency, the draft, we'll go over all of that, give rundowns and perspective on that, and then a little bit of the NBA, when it's going to come back, timetables for its return, all of that. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The number one news of free agency that we're going to go over, Tom Brady to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a move that very few saw coming and maybe blindsided the entire league. I know you've probably heard a lot of takes on this, Brandon. What's your take? Will this work?
Yeah. Bruce Arians is a great coach. He's got great weapons around him. It just seems like a perfect fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that is true. I don't know whose offensive style is going to have to cave first, though. Tom Brady's little checkdowns and screens to running backs, which are definitely his favorite. He doesn't like going past that first down marker when passing, or Bruce Arians' air raid offense that had Jameis Winston in it, who just airs the ball out a million times a game. I don't know who's going to cave first, but I think if you have Tom Brady on your team, you got to go with what he wants. I think the Buccaneers have done a good job surrounding him, especially with already having O.J. Howard, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, adding Gronk, Keyshawn Vaughn, and then Tristan Wirfs in the draft. I can see that working out very well. Brandon, what's your record prediction? 17 games now because of that player agreement. Are we still 16?
Still 16.
Are we still at 16? Okay, we're still at 16. Brandon, what is your record prediction for the Buccaneers next year, and will they make the playoffs?
12-4.
12-4. Really? Interesting. Okay. So 12-4. Why 12-4?
Because they're going to be good, but they won't be good enough because they don't have OTAs and stuff, and they're like basically a whole new team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree with that. But you're saying 12 wins even without OTAs. That's still a lot of wins.
Well,
I don't know if Tom Brady can beat that.
At left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
They already have a great receiving core, good tight ends, great front seven. I mean, they're pretty solid.
Yeah, they are pretty solid. I don't know about 12 wins. For me, I would go 10-6. I'd say they make the playoffs, and maybe Tom Brady has a little one of those Tom Brady moments and carries them, who knows, to the Super Bowl. Probably not winning the Super Bowl, but maybe even to the Super Bowl. We'll have to see there. Another big piece of news, of course, coming out of Houston. Unfortunately for you, we see the hat, we see the background. DeAndre Hopkins, man, traded for a bag of chips, basically. David Johnson, an old, worn-down running back. Can you justify what Bill O'Brien did there, Brandon?
No, I can't.
Unjustifiable?
No, it's unjustifiable. It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. The only response he had to it is, let's just see. I just want you to see how it plays out.
Does he deserve to be fired?
With a down year this year, yes, he does.
All right. Well, that is fair. I think that DeAndre Hopkins trade, it came totally out of nowhere. I mean, it really unprovoked. And to get nothing back for him is the worst part. If you got some, like, high-level draft picks or, like, young talent, that would be one thing. But only getting David Johnson, like, that's incredibly stupid. I don't know what he was thinking there. But I mean, I guess we'll have to find out. Brandon, what was one of the biggest non-Texans related moves, and of course not Tom Brady moves, that you think shaped this free agency?
Well, I think the whole Joe Burrow to the Bengals restart in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a groundbreaking move because I think Joe Burrow is the prototypical quarterback, and he's going to really boost that franchise out of a hole that they've been in for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was probably the defining moment. It's that first overall pick like it is in most years, but
yeah. I would say that Joe Burrow, like based on the stats and what he can do, would be good. And no doubt, if he fell into the hands of a different offense, he would be incredible. I just don't think he can get off the ground with the offense that the Bengals had. Now, they do have A.J. Green, and they added T. Higgins. They have Joe Mixon in the backfield, and that's a great combination, as well as John Ross with blazing speed in the slot. That's good, but that offensive line is just so horrendous.
actually, they did draft Jonah Williams last year, and they got another offensive
True, and
line.
Jonah Williams didn't play the entire season because he was hurt, but still, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough. Yeah.
Left tackle locks them down.
Mm-hmm. I
guess.
guess.
And Green, Tyler Boyd.
Mm-hmm. If A.J. Green can stay on the field, that is.
Joe Mixon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good offense. I don't know if they have enough right now to do serious damage. I think they're still going to end up.
The ball.
Yeah, definitely not on defense. I mean, probably one of the number one clips of last year, they did mention it during the draft, every time the Bengals were up pretty much, was Lamar Jackson just spinning around Bengals linebackers because they couldn't do anything about him. So I think that they don't have enough weapons on the defensive side of the ball to get themselves out of the hole yet. But we'll have to see. Moving on to the next pick in that draft, Chase Young, my personal best player of the draft, I think is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Brandon, do you think he can turn the fortunes of the Redskins around?
No.
No, you don't think so?
Him by himself is not going to be able to turn the Redskins around.
I mean, he is starting to get a little bit of help.
The one person on defense is not going to flip around that entire atrocious offense.
That is true. If Dwayne Haskins can find his stride, though, I think Dwayne Haskins on the offensive side of the ball mixed with Terry McLaurin, that's going to be a good duo going down the line if Haskins can improve and get to where he was supposed to be. But also, I think Chase Young can wreak enough havoc on the defensive side of the ball to maybe get them 2 more wins this year. I know it's a lot, but I think he really does already have that talent necessary. Moving on, couple other picks from those rounds. Jeffrey Okudah. I feel kind of okay about that pick. I mean, he's a good corner, but, nothing spectacular. And then the 4th pick in the draft, which I think surprised most people, Andrew Thomas to the Giants. Do you think Andrew Thomas was the right move, or should they have gone Tristan Wirfs or possibly gone with Isaiah Simmons? Who do you think they should have drafted at that pick, if not Andrew Thomas?
I think they should have gone Isaiah Simmons, but Andrew Thomas is not a bad pick, especially protecting Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep their back healthy.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good idea if you're more of a passing offense. I think Daniel Jones and Darius Slayton connected a lot this year, but I don't think it was enough to really make them a passing offense. I think what they are, though, is definitely a running offense. You have Saquon Barkley, one of the best running backs in the league, and Andrew Thomas, who's more of a pass protector at tackle, is really maybe not what you want. If you've got Tristan Wirfs, though, insane athleticism, just a bowling ball at that right tackle or left tackle, because he lined up at both at Iowa. If you put him on either side, he can just run people over in front of Saquon and cause an avalanche in the run game. So I really think that the Giants may have messed up there by getting Andrew Thomas and not drafting either Wirfs or Simmons. But I think they're going to end up being all right with the pick. I don't think it's going to hurt them too much. Now, the two other quarterbacks drafted, Justin Herbert and Tua Tagovailoa. Who do you think will end up being better out of the two of them?
Tua, easily.
And why is that?
He's just overall a better quarterback, and especially if we're gonna assume that they're both gonna if they both stay healthy, Tua by far. But
Okay.
health is the only thing that could keep Tua down.
Yeah, that's true. He did have a lot of health complications entering the draft, but I think what's kind of important that we're like, it's not just the talent of the quarterback, it's the team that they have around him, and this is the reason I'm going to pick Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert already has a great team around him. He's entering a great situation.
Overall.
Yeah, I mean, like, overall success, I would have to give that to Justin Herbert just because of the team around him. But I would have to agree, in terms of talent, Tua by far, if he can just stay healthy, is an extremely talented player. So I think that will end up working out in their favor. But I guess we'll have to see because, it's a big what if he can stay healthy. Rounding out the rest of the top 10, not many notable things. I mean, Derek Brown to the Panthers, Isaiah Simmons to the Cardinals, who I think is probably going to end up being, if not the second best player in this draft class. Isaiah Simmons is just a defensive specialist. I mean, he can do anything. He can cover, he can blitz. I mean, he can tackle very well. I think the Cardinals made a terrific pick there. What do you think about Isaiah Simmons?
I think he's a freak of nature. He's able to steal at number 8.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I don't know why the Panthers passed on him, to be honest.
Well, I think it's because, like, defensive line was so necessary for the Panthers this year because they just lost both Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe. Their 2 starters at those defensive tackle spots. Both of them went to the Cowboys. So now they don't have really any, like, ground at that position. So getting Derek Brown, I think, was helpful, but I think Isaiah Simmons definitely would have been the move because passing on a talent like Simmons is just, it's mind-blowing why you would do that. Losers of the first round, of course, the Green Bay Packers, definitely. I think in the long run, it's going to end up being good, but in the short term right now, making that pick definitely put their GM on the hot seat. What do you think about that pick? Can Jordan Love replace Aaron Rodgers in the same way Aaron Rodgers replaced Brett Favre?
No, I don't like it at all. Aaron Rodgers, during his entire 15-year career, has only thrown 1 touchdown pass to a first-round pick.
That is true. True. Aaron Rodgers is a magic man, but a magic man can't do so much now at 38. He's not doing that great.
They're not giving him any help. He's 36 right now. He's got 4 years left on his contract. So they're trying to, if they really wanted to maximize one of the best quarterbacks of all times, rest of his ability to perform at a high level, they should have been helping around him instead of basically throwing away a first-round pick.
That is true. I think, though, the risk reward for Jordan Love would be worth it because, so Jordan Love, to me, is his ceiling is Patrick Mahomes. Like, he can make crazy throws on the run. He's very Patrick Mahomes-esque, but he makes very stupid decisions. He's like the best parts of Patrick Mahomes mixed with the worst parts of Jameis Winston, which is not the best combination. But, I mean, if he works out for them, the Packers are just going to have another run at quarterback for the next 20 years, So if it works, it's going to work very well. But if it doesn't work, that GM is definitely on the hot seat. Were there any other picks in the first round that you were just shaking your head at, like this pick doesn't make any sense?
Picking Jalen Reagor for the Eagles over Justin Jefferson, that was a bold decision there. They did get a receiver, but with Justin Jefferson still available, I don't see why they passed on him and picked Jalen Reagor instead.
I think Jalen Reagor physically is definitely more impressive, faster, bigger, stronger, but he's not a great route runner. And he didn't have the stats in college. Granted, the quarterbacks at TCU were just horrendous. But still, he didn't have those college stats that Justin Jefferson had. I mean, I guess you could have gone either way at that position, but Justin Jefferson, even though he's not that physically imposing, not that fast, not that strong, his route running is incredible. So I think you really could have gone either way there, but I don't know if I disliked that pick. All right, moving on to winners and losers of the draft. The number one winner in my book, the Broncos, by far. I mean, they just had an amazing draft. Jerry Jeudy in the first round and just stacking up like KJ Hamler in the second round, stacking up receivers, stacking up more talent, especially even in the seventh round. They got that defensive end right at the end who's an absolute monster. So I think they're definitely my winner of the draft. Are they your winner of the draft?
No.
No. Who's your winner?
Well, I think there's a lot of winners. I think like the Cowboys had a really good draft, even though they had a really good draft. I mean, all things considered, the Texans had a pretty good draft. The Ravens, the Chiefs. There was a lot of really good drafts. I don't know if I can really pick like one sole winner, but I don't think it's the Broncos.
You don't think it's
Broncos?
Broncos?
I think the Broncos are our sole winner.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I think the Dolphins. Did you mention them?
No, but they also had a pretty solid draft. They used their draft capital well.
Yeah, they had a pretty good draft, I would say. Draft losers now, my Bears. Big draft loser. I mean, we came into the draft, 9 tight ends on the team. You're like, okay, just as long as you don't draft a tight end with your first pick. And they went and they drafted a tight end. So now we have 10 tight ends on the roster. Don't understand it. Kind of useless, but you know what? I mean, we'll see what happens there. The Packers, obviously, also got to consider them draft losers. Brandon, who was your biggest draft loser?
The biggest one? The Packers. Easily.
All right. Yeah, I would definitely say the Packers were the biggest losers. I mean, they messed up quite a bit. I think we kind of gave a good rundown of free agency in the draft just before you go. Just a little something to mention on the NBA side of things. The NBA did announce a couple days ago that practice facilities would open up on May 1st. The Hawks refused that, so now it is going to be moved back to May 8th. Still no real timetable for the NBA's return as a whole, but we'll have to see what ends up happening. Thank you so much for watching this quarantine episode. We'll try to get more out to you now that we kind of have the setup figured out a little bit more. For myself, Hudson Ridley, alongside Brandon Severns, thank you so much for tuning in.